Hello, hello. Welcome to Lure Painting Live. It is Saturday night, May 22nd, and we are doing a pike tonight. So welcome everybody to the show. If you are new here, I am on most Saturdays. I do have to take off a week here and there for just other things that are going on in my life. But so I wasn't here last week. My apologies. We had a big open tournament for the ABA that my husband runs and needed my help. And that was a good success. We had a wonderful tournament. If you guys missed it, I hope you can make it next year. And yeah, so we're going to be doing a pike jerkbait tonight. I just finished cutting the stencil that I made. And so I'm just weeding out the little holes here. So this was a custom order from a customer that has been waiting on this for a little while, and mostly because I just didn't. It takes a while to make a stencil, and sometimes I just get behind and I get to it as fast as I should. So my apologies to him for that. And so these are big jerkbaits. I think the bodies of these are 6 inches or 6.5. I have to measure it to tell you exactly. I got them from, I think, Lure Parts online, I think. And it was just the one that he picked anyways. So if I don't have something in stock for you that you want to order custom, I can make it for you or source a blank lure that will meet your needs. I don't have all the things in stock that you might want, but I can usually get most things that you want within like a week or two. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead I'm gonna pull up my feed on here. And then I'm going to go ahead and post the link to the Facebook. I'm sorry, the YouTube link onto my Facebook. And you can also follow me on Facebook if you are watching on YouTube as well. And I'll post a little bit of a discount code for this weekend as well. I did add some items to clearance. So there are a few items I discounted. If you want to check it out, try and get a good deal. Now's the time while there's still stuff in there. And I do have a few new plastics also that I'll be adding to the store that I haven't had a chance to add yet. And I'm trying to get caught up on all your custom orders. So if you guys are waiting for something, I should be finished with it very, very soon. And then I will move on to some new colors. So let me see if I can get this to come up. It's kind of, I swear they change the layout of Facebook like every single time I come on here. And then I'm just like, really? Where's my stuff at? Okay, so this is just a pike stencil that I cut. And I draw most of my stencils with Apple Pencil on Autodesk Sketchbook. Autodesk is all one word. And it is a Autodesk Sketchbook. And it's all completely free app that you can use with Apple. And you can pull up different like images of fish on your am I on Facebook? Mine's not coming up. Are you seeing me, Chris? I'm not on. It says that I have 0. Is it working? Well, hang on one second, guys. I know I'm on YouTube. Hey, guys. Yeah, I'm supposed to be on Facebook. For some reason, I have 0 people on here. And it's not showing up. So maybe I'll restart it. Because I'm not seeing it on my end either. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Let me go ahead and quit this and I'll restart it on Facebook. Because it was supposed to be going and I guess it didn't start. So let's delete that and I'll start over. So if you're watching on YouTube and I have to repeat myself, my apologies for that. It didn't work very well for some reason. And I don't know what happened there. So there we go. Hopefully this will work. Okay. I don't know. I put in my description and then I walked away for a couple minutes and maybe it reset itself without me knowing it. And it just didn't pop up live for some reason. So if you guys are just seeing me now, finally, my apologies. I thought my Facebook Live was running. It said it was running, but for some reason people weren't seeing it on their end. So welcome tonight to Lure Painting Live. And I'm Krista from Colorado Custom Lures. I'm going to go ahead and pin the website so you can order in-stock items if you like. And then you can contact me via the website that is pictured behind me. you can email me, or you can PM me through Facebook, and I can do custom orders as well. So if you missed me talking about random nonsense, I was not on last week. I mentioned it on the week before show because Chris had an open tournament for the ABA, and I was there as a sponsor, and he needed some help because it was a big tournament. So it went really well. We had a lot of fun, grilled out. Four Rivers had some equipment there, and it was a lot of fun. So it was a good weekend. A lot of fish caught, and so I'm back. So we're doing a pike tonight. And I will go ahead and pin the comment. Okay, so now you guys can see me. My apologies. I thought I was on. It said my phone said I was on, but then I noticed that there was like nobody watching. I had to go look on the other end when I came on here to do my hang on one second here. When I came on to do my check my messages or my comments, there was nobody there, so I didn't know. So I'm going to keep my paintbrushes available to me as well. I just have like a cheap set of paintbrushes I got from Amazon, and I have all of my dotting tools stuck in here too. If you ever wanted to know like how you do trout dots on like brown trouts, I use these little dotting tools. They're just have little different size balls on the end of them, and you can just use them to just drop dots of paint on to something. And then I have a bunch of like fine paintbrushes, and I have some others that are nicer than this. And I'm kind of drawing a blank about where I put those right now, but I shouldn't need anything too crazy. So let me pull up my link here to post in the pinned comment, and then I'll get started. So I already have these primed up. And there's just some bigger jerkbaits that I got from Lure Parts Online. And they're probably in the musky bait category, but they're definitely something you could use for bass if you wanted to. I mean, bass certainly bite bigger things than what we use all the time on a regular basis. So let me see if that works this time. There we go. And it won't let me pin it. Huh. So stupid. It won't let me pin it. That is so weird. Somebody tell me why does this thing hate me? Hey, Tim. Ugh. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to be a pain in the butt, but this is not working. Half the time it does, and half the time it doesn't. Okay, it won't let me pin. I don't know why. If Chris, if you can pin the comment that I just entered, that'd be great. If you can't, don't worry about it. I'll just keep adding the comment, I guess. It's also in the description, the website, and then there's a discount code for tonight for 10% off everything. I was saying I added some things to the clearance section, so there are some discounted items if you want to check out what's in there. So this is just a pike stencil that I cut right before the show, and so I'm going to do that tonight. Okay, so I have these already primed up. These are some big jerk baits. They're, I think, 6 or 6.5 inches. And we're going to, we started with a white base. So right now these, I think, are already coated with lacquer paint. And I don't use lacquer while I'm painting live. So I'm just going to add some regular white water base to it because water-based paints don't lay down very nice on lacquer paint. So I'm just going to add like a nice coat of white on top of here in water base so that it's so that my base is water based and not lacquer. It doesn't matter if you use both. You can use water based and lacquer in, together. They just layer a little bit differently. Anyway. It probably makes a better base coat than just about anything, but normally I use Stencil Res primer for my base coat on water base, which is acrylic polyurethane by Badger. Stencil Res, you can get it at USA Airbrush Supply. You can get it on Amazon, and then I don't really know where else. I bought a huge bottle of it on USA Airbrush Supply, I think, and I haven't needed another one because I only use like 1 or 2 coats of primer, and then I go over with like a flat white paint for my base coat. So I hope everybody's well. My internet's supposed to be better now, but still Facebook's being Facebook. We finally had somebody come out to a different satellite tower. So it should be better. But it went out, it already went out once today because we've actually had tornadoes just east of here. So I hope everybody in eastern Colorado is doing okay and is safe. I don't think there was anything real, like badly damaging, but I haven't heard probably all the news around it yet. It's been a little crazy here weather-wise. Hang on one second. I'm spraying into my rinse cup over here because I'm not paying attention again. Okay, now I can pin it. Yeah, it was just being difficult. It's only pinned once now. I just don't think there's that many comments. So hopefully everybody can share the feed, please, if you can. And that helps me get the word out. I am doing well. Everybody's quiet tonight. What are y'all up to? I know it's a Saturday night in the summer. It's not always the best time to do a show. I may go back to weeknights in the summer. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do yet. I know that like a lot of people have tournaments on the weekends and stuff, so maybe it's not the best time to be on. But there's never a best time for everybody, right? Let's see here. Great, thanks, Ross. I appreciate the feedback on that. Oh no, your tournament didn't go so well. We all have those, though. Sorry to hear that. Yeah. Okay, so let's go. So I have a reference photo of a pike on here, and so we're just going to get going with it. So pike generally are going to be a darker green color or a brown color or brownish green. So I'm going to go with more of a green base on this one. And then I'll probably just like do a little bit of detail around the gill plate. Unfortunately, these lures don't have like a huge amount of detail around the face. So I'm not going to have as much room as I'd probably like to have to do it. But I'll do the best that I can. So I'm going to start with a pearl green, just to give it a little bit of flash, but they're mostly flat. So that'll get covered up with a moss green, which is primarily what color they are. Mostly is like just a dark green. And then we'll do like a mustardy, like I guess like cream yellow-ish color for the spots. And then you know, there's not too much else going on color-wise with pike. I mean, they're pretty simple. So make a pink lemonade. Make a pink lemonade what? Pike? A pink lemonade pike? I only do one design per show. I don't know if you guys are not used to watching me. I don't just do like a bunch of stuff in a row. I do one design from start to finish. Usually it's something that I haven't done before or that you've never seen me paint before. So I do things a little bit different than maybe some people do. So this is Createx pearlized lime green. So I'm just putting down a base color. You'll notice this is almost kind of like a yellow color. It's like the inside of a lime, right? So when they say lime green, it's not like the outside of a lime. It's like the inside of a lime. So I'm putting that down just as a base coat, and then I'll blend. I will blend my moss green over top of that so that it's a little darker on top than it is on bottom, and give it that kind of like a fade look to it. Thank you for the share. Greatly appreciated. I use both Awada and Badger airbrushes, the Patriot by Badger, and then also the Awada HPCS. Those are the primary brushes I use. I have a lot of airbrushes, but usually only like 2 of them are functional at a time because I hate cleaning them, and sometimes I get like buildup in them, and I don't like want to mess with it, so I'll just keep going until they're all out of commission. I know it's bad. Just busy, you know. So I'm just drying this a little bit because it's wet. And, it's just wet. So I was just drying it a little bit with the hair dryer. That's not a heat set per se. I'm just getting it to dry faster, basically using that hair dryer. So this is just a water bottle, and I'm just spraying the bowl out. I don't have a sink in here or anything. So that's what I do to clean my brush out, is just a little bit of spray with water, and then I just wipe it out with a paper towel. You can use rubbing alcohol also to clean your brush out, or your airbrush out. Isopropyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol, whatever. If you get like dry paint in there, it works really good to clean it out. So we're gonna put moss green on here next. Let's see here. What happened now? The root beer S-Cray, nice. See, it works. Your magic color that you came up with works. All the bluegills are in the store if you guys haven't had a chance to look at those yet. They're right. I have some hanging right here that I haven't taken the wires out of yet. So this is one of the S-Crank bluegills. So there's some purple on the bottom of this that does not show up very well in the pictures. It's like an interference purple color that is on the bottom, and it's hard to see unless you're in the sunlight, and then it shows up really pretty. Okay, so this is detail moss green, and we're going to just basically cover the whole thing, spraying downward so that it's a little darker at the top than at the bottom. And I'm not doing any variations on this. I'm just kind of going for what I think is going to work, and we're just going to pray that it works. And if it doesn't, I'll repaint them. If you're watching, Chris Weber, if it stinks, I'll repaint it, I promise. If you guys do decide that you want one of these or whatever from the show, just let me know. I have a few extras that I bought. I don't do a lot of big, like really big lures like this. But whenever I buy like a special blank that somebody requests, I usually buy some extra just in case somebody else wants to order one, so I don't have to place another order and pay shipping again. So I do have a few extras. If you like it, just let me know. These are nice solid baits too. They have a really nice feel to them. I don't know how much they weigh, but if I had to guess, I would say it's at least an ounce. Maybe more. I'll have to weigh it. Let me weigh it real quick here. My scale's right underneath me in my mess of crap. Let's see what it weighs. Yep, exactly 1 ounce. So that's what I thought. So we were somewhere around there. And they have a nice weight transfer ball in them. They seem like they'd be really good. I haven't tried them yet, so I don't know for sure, but I left a fingerprint on that. Luckily, it was on the spine, so no biggie. Okay, so I've got this mostly greened up now. And see, it fades a little bit into that like yellowish bottom. So you can see my little spot on top there. I'll fix that at the end. We'll darken up that spine. You won't be able to see it anymore. So let's do the second one now. So this is a pre-reduced moss green, but it's a little thick, so I'm just adding a tiny bit of reducer. I just keep 40, 12, 13, or 11 reducer in here. Whatever Createx reducer you like, they all work fine. I don't have a preference between like the 3 different types that they have. They're all the same to me. So again, I'm just spraying downward so I get a bit of a fade. Careful not to put too much paint down at once. The thinner your paint is and the more gradual you are with the layering and the lighter you spray it, the better your fade's going to look. So it kind of gradually goes from one color to the next and looks more natural than if you just pile the paint all on in like one coat. Then it's going to look like more of a harsh transition. What other questions do I have here? Anything? I'm on both, Anthony. Oh, Arthur, you're asking. Hey, Richard. Thank you, Alan. What blank? Where do these blanks come from? I got them from Lure Parts Online. These particular ones, they're like one of their. I don't know if they call them Magnum. They're the bigger, like they have a category for their bigger stuff. I just had to shop around for what the customer wanted in this case. This isn't something that I paint very often, these big ones, but thank you, babe. Chris is going for Facebook jail for me tonight. Sharon, see if I can get some business. I did pin the website at the bottom. You can also subscribe to me on YouTube with the link I provided if you haven't done that. One of these days, I'll get back to editing more videos and putting more content on YouTube just outside of my live shows. I'd like to add more YouTube content like fishing and just short technique videos that I don't have time to do right now. Someday my kids will both be in school all day next year. And then all will be good in the world. All right, so this is a pretty good fade, I think, here. So the white, you know, you just want that flat white belly on the pike. So I'm just going to leave that as is. So this is just a fade green to a bit of a lime green. And then we're going to get onto some stenciling. So this is actually a pretty simple pattern. It's just the stencil is kind of a pain in the butt to create. But once you get that done, I guess then you have it, right? Teach Sage to paint. I'll probably have better luck teaching the dog to paint than I would have teaching the kids to sit down and paint. They have no patience. I keep spraying my waste into my like rinse cup, which is the one that I'm supposed to use to clean my brush out. It's not a big deal, but I just keep confusing myself. Okay, so now let me think here. Yeah, the rain. We've had storms off and on for, we don't usually have that much rain here. I mean, it's usually pretty dry here this time of year, but we've gotten quite a lot this spring, which was somewhat unexpected. All right, so I thought bone would be a good color to start with for the base for the stencil, and then just add a little bit of yellow to it to give it like a bone / yellow color. What do you guys think? Does that sound acceptable to you? See, this bone, it actually has a yellow color in it. If you don't shake it well enough, you'll see it swirl. This is Createx, the Bloodline. They have a Bloodline line, Tim Gore's Bloodline, and this is Old Bone. And it's one of the best bone colors on the market. If you want something you don't have to mix yourself. Actually, Apple Barrel has a pretty good color called Toasted Marshmallow if you want to do it on a budget. I don't like the graininess of the craft paints, but if you're on a budget and you want, to try out airbrushing, you can definitely use them. You just have to use reducer or water to water them down, but they do work. So let's add a little yellow. I just put 1 drop of Wicked Detail Yellow in this, and I'm going to stir it on up. So like, whoops, I'm sorry. The Old Bone is pretty thin. I think it's supposed to be ready to spray, and so are the detail colors, but they're just a little too thick for me right now. So I just add a little reducer. I like the way my colors spray better. They spray better with a little bit of reducer, even if it's just a tiny bit. So this is still pretty white. I'm going to make it just a smidge yellower, okay? So 1 more drop should do me, and then we'll see how it looks. And the goal here is to get it opaque because we're going to be going over a dark color. And so we want it to be opaque, which it will be with the bone. So that's not even almost yellow enough for me. I'm looking at reference photos here, and it varies so much. Like some pike are like very yellow and some are not very yellow. So I'm going to try and kind of go in between and, get the happy middle. Oh my gosh, there's like no water in there. It's enough. Okay, so I'm just spraying this out to make sure that my color is even before I start spraying my lure. And I'm going to grab just a paper towel to spray on here real quick. I need to change out my desk cardboard. It's really dirty. So this one we'll start with. Make sure it's dry before you stick a stencil to it. Otherwise, you'll end up with, your stencil sticking to your lure, and that sucks. You don't want to do that. So this is just a pike stencil I made. and just a wild pattern, and then I just cropped my pattern to fit like a strip side, a strip. So there's a few places where I use a silhouette cameo, which is like a Cricut. Most people use Cricut. I got a cameo. I don't know why. They're the same basically. There's many similarities between Cricut and Cameo. I picked the Cameo just off a recommendation, but honestly, I don't think it really matters which one you pick. They're both good. More people are familiar with the Cricut, so they're both just for cutting vinyl primarily, like to put on t-shirts or decorate, whatever. But you can use they work perfectly for stencils also. Some of the finer detail stencils, like micro detail stencils, I recommend Anarchy Models. And then I think that Insane Custom Stencils is supposed to be coming out with some micro stencils, if you didn't know that. He did post somewhere that he was going to be doing that, so I'm looking forward to those as well. Because that fine detail is really hard to cut with the vinyl cutter. So when you do these, you want to make sure you have this stencil nice and tight. So I'm almost going to have to do this like in stages because I don't want to end up with a not very sharp pattern. So the way to get a sharp pattern is to make sure that your stencil is pressed nice and tight against your bait, and that you don't use too much air or spray for too long, because that's where you get like where the paint will start to push itself under your stencil, and then you'll get that kind of fuzzy line, and it's hard to avoid. It's really hard to avoid. It just takes practice, and I still screw it up. And my ability to like do fine detail, to go back and clean it up with an airbrush is decent now, to where it's not the end of the world, but it is frustrating. So take your time, just take your time. That's all I ask. Okay, so let's hold this down. I like to hold it down on the paper. Sometimes you want to put a cap on your airbrush so that if you're, pointing your airbrush down, you don't end up spilling your paint on whatever you're working on. So I like these Badger. These are Badger caps for the airbrush. They're just like a hard plastic, flexible though, hard plastic. And they sit really well in the bowl. And these work for Iwata airbrushes too. You can get them on USA Airbrush Supply too, and they're like $3. So just order, like half a dozen or something. And then you'll never say you lost it because you have plenty. They're cheap. So I'm going to turn my air down. I use an adjustable quick disconnect by Grex, and I got this one on Amazon. This is pretty white. I don't know, guys. I'm going to add yellow to it. It's just not very yellow. So let's try one more. And then I promise I'll stop before I overdo it. Anyway, I can adjust my air on the fly without touching my compressor, and that is key. So I set my compressor to like 35 PSI or something like that while I'm spraying. And then I can just turn this down on my airbrush if I want to bring it down to like 15 or something. You won't be able to tell what you're at, but you'll be able to feel how hard it's spraying. So everybody, welcome. If you haven't checked out the website, I pinned it in the comments at the very bottom, and it's also in the description. And you do get 10% off through Sunday on your whole order with the code I provided in the pinned comments. So let's go ahead and do some spots. So I'm carefully spraying, making sure that I spray as straight onto the stencils as I can. And don't move the stencil. It may take a couple of passes to get a solid dot on some of these. This doesn't look very yellow either. I kind of wish I had made it more yellow. Maybe I'll do a couple of variations and see if he minds. If he minds, I can redo it. So I know you can't probably see what I'm doing very well right now. I'll show you in just a minute. It's really hard to hold this up and paint at the same time. Okay, so now I'm just basically going to leave this where it is. And all I'm doing, and I know you guys on YouTube, I'll push you down so you can see me better here. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Doing good, Kevin. Yours are all done. If you want me to add something to your order, just PM me, Kevin, and I can do that. But I got the rest of your stuff clear coated today, so it's all done. So again, I'm using, I'm just being careful, really making sure my stencil's tight. How well it's going to turn out, I really don't know, but we're hoping for the best, right? These are a little bit time consuming. So this might not be the most complex pattern, but the stenciling takes a lot of time if you want it to look good. So that's where these can really eat your time up. With stenciling too, like staying closer to your lure to prevent overspray onto like the other stencil holes around where you're working is key as well. So I'm only spraying like right onto the dot that I'm doing one dot at a time, basically. Root beer sexy shad and a lipless jerkbait. What's a root beer sexy shad? There's so many interpretations of sexy shad anymore. When I think sexy shad, I think like KBD sexy shad, right? But I know it's not how everybody probably thinks of it. So I've got some of these spots on top. I don't know how critical they're going to be, but I'm still going to get them. So I'm just going straight across the bait here. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing on Facebook very well right now. Let me try. I don't want to screw this up. I'm going to point this down just for a minute so you guys can see what I'm doing, okay? I can't see the video on my end. It always cuts me off for some reason on my own iPad. So I can't really see what you're seeing right now. I should be able to, but I don't know. It just never works. So I'm just working my way down my stencil little by little. And I'll probably only do one of these, depending on how long this takes me. I don't want to be here all night boring you guys. So what's everybody doing for Memorial Day weekend? Anybody got fun plans? We're thinking about going camping, but we aren't sure yet if we are going to be able to do it. It's crazy out here. You can't get a campsite anywhere in Colorado unless you book it like in January. Because everybody wants to go camping here right now. Everybody bought campers last year because there was nothing else to do. We don't always plan ahead as much as we probably should. That's life with kids though, right? So I'm just spraying literally like along the stencil very carefully. So I know this is terribly boring and I'll try to go faster on the other side. But I just want it to look right and I don't want to have to redo it. So again, this is a pike that I'm doing and I'm stenciling it right now. So it's a little bit of a slow, painful thing to watch. But I'm almost done with this side. Okay, let's see what we got here. So here's what the stencil came out like. Unfortunately, I scratched it a little bit, but I think I can fix that. And the reason why there's some scratch marks is because the paint is water-based, and if it's not like fully dry before you press the stencil tight against it, you can get some scratches on the paint. And I can fix it probably, just freehand, fill in any of the little scratches, but I think that that turned out pretty good. So a little bit of a pike pattern if that looks like pike to you. And then I'm going to do some, I'm going to finish up the spots up the side here, and then I'll probably paint like some squiggly lines on the gill because it'll just look a little bit fancier. Okay, so I'm just going to add a few dots, like I said, right above the gill plate here in this area up here where my thumb is poking, just to finish off that pattern. You won't be wrong not having a lot of yellow. Yeah, it varies very much. When I always go through reference photos online, and it seems to be somewhat regional, you know, what the coloration is. But it seems to me that the more bone with a tint of yellow is more common than like a super yellow color. So this is more bone with just a tint of yellow, which I think is probably for most places pretty accurate. Okay, so I'm going to do the other side now. I'm not going to flip my stencil over because I don't want to get I don't want to brush any of the paint on this side over, and I don't want to clean it. So I'm just going to just flip it over basically. Wait a minute. Which side did I paint on? Okay, yeah. I'm just going to start from the tail and work my way back this time, and you won't be able to tell the difference really because the stencil's not directionally specific. So I'm going to spray the spots on this side real quick here. And again, it's going to take me a few minutes to do this, so bear with me. I'll try to go a little faster this time, and then we'll get some of the face detail done. Hopefully I can do it a little faster and accurate at the same time. I wanted to see how that was going to come out before I went a little faster. So again, just taking your time and making sure that you don't hose it down while you're stenciling, you know, just taking your time and getting the sharp lines on these. And sometimes you need to go over them a couple of times just to get it light, nice and light, because you're going over a dark color. So I'm just using brush wise. I always get the question about what brush I'm using, and people join the show at various times throughout the show. So I'm using a Badger Extreme Patriot right now, which is a 0.3 millimeter needle. So it's a fine detail, but not like ultra fine detail. So I think it's considered super fine detail, but not the smallest. .3 is usually the smallest I use. Some people like 0.2s. I'm not a huge fan. Okay, so just want to keep that straight so that you're not getting your lines blurred. And that's the difference between a really good paint job and an okay paint job, is taking the time to care about those little things like sharp stencil lines. Sometimes non-sharp stencil lines look good too. It depends what you're going for with the design. I know some of the best painters that have fuzzy lines for almost everything, and it still looks really fantastic. But for the pike, I say this got to be clean. Got to be a clean look. Because they are so, you know, sharp and intricate and beautiful. And savage. Don't forget savage. If you guys are just joining me, I'm painting a big pike jerkbait, a jerkbait and pike pattern. Not necessarily like to catch pike, but you probably could. for sure. Okay, so we're getting there. I'm about 2/3 of the way down on this. So just a little bit more, and then I'll move on to some face detail. And I'll try and see if I can clean up some of these scratches too that I told you about. So normally if I'm going to stencil something like this that's really detailed where I have to put a lot of pressure on the stencil, I'll let my base coats dry for a little bit longer than I did, and then you won't get as many scratches as I just did just now. When you don't give very much time to dry, and you put pressure on it like this, you're going to get some scrapes. Most things can be fixed. I mean, there's definitely times when you have to start over, but most things can be fixed. Okay, so now we have this side done, and I'm going to have to do, like I said, again, a little bit more detail up above the gill plate, but this side looks good too. I probably have a little bit less scratching on this side. So there is the pattern on there. Looks pretty good, I think. Okay, so somebody's trying to come in my door. I can hear them. My gremlins. They're trying to come in the back door. All right, so I'm just adding a few spots here above, just on the top of the head a little bit, basically, just to continue the pattern on down the line. Faking my southern accent there. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So let's do some freehand. I'm going to try just leaving this paint in the bowl, and then I'm going to grab a paintbrush out of here, and we're just going to do like some random. I have a tiger trout stencil that would actually make a nice face pattern on this, but I'm going to try and freehand it first and see how it goes. So I'm going to pull up my reference picture, and I'm going to grab a fine paintbrush here. I have a few different ones. I need to invest some money in some better ones. Yeah, I just do. So these aren't quite as like fine tipped as I'd like them to be. And so I probably just need to buy some. What PSI am I using? Actually, Paul, I don't know. I use a Grex Quick Disconnect. I'm sorry, nobody can see me really. I use a Grex Quick Disconnect on my airbrush. So I'm adjusting on the fly here. If I had to guess, I'd say that's probably about 15 to 20 maybe PSI on there. And then if you have good trigger control, you can kind of control how much air you have there. But the key is you don't want to just use a ton. You can do it with a ton of air, but you have to be really careful. You just run the risk of pushing some of the paint dust under your stencil and then, you know, blurring your beautifully clear lines. So I'm just going to use my brush here, and I'm just going to dip it in my bowl. I'm not going to clean this out yet. I'm just going to use the paint that's in here. And I'm going to practice on here first just to see how thin my line is. And then I'm going to go onto that face here, and we're just going to make some lines. So this paint is a little thinner than I'd like it to be for using it with a paintbrush. I like when I'm doing painting or dotting, I like my paint to be a little bit thicker than I do when I'm spraying. Just, but I already have this reduced and it's the right color. And so, and I still have quite a bit in my brush. So I'm just going to leave it in there and work with what I have here. So if I have to go back over a spot or whatever, I can do that. So this just allows me to kind of create some tiger-like kind of stripes or whatever. There's not a whole lot of a gill plate to work with, you know, to make that fanned out gill like they have. So I can't really do that on this one. I just don't have the space. See, like that's how much space I have. You know, they have the big gill and that's all it is. So I just don't have a lot of room to make that detail show up. And that's just because of the bait. I know a lot of these guys that do these muskie and pike baits get really creative with like the gill plates and the eyes and all that stuff. And if you have a handmade wood jerkbait, then your canvas is empty, you know, and you can pretty much do whatever you want with it. But since this is a blank, I don't really have that up. I don't really have that flexibility. So I'm just doing some of the stripes and stuff on here. I'm getting them as solid as I can with my paint being kind of light over a dark surface. So it looks pretty good, I think. Okay, so we'll go over the spine and darken it up and clean up a little bit of that. So that's what that looks like. I've got the scratches on top, so I'll darken up the back there and we'll get rid of those scratches, but that looks pretty good, I think. And let me do this other side here real quick. I think the color is okay on the spots. I have a tiger trout stencil that I made. I don't know if you guys watched the tiger trout episode, but that would probably be a good stencil to use on this face. I think I'd have to scale the stencil down though and recut a different size or whatever so that they're smaller stripes, but that would look pretty good. I like to use small parts of big stencils to get different effects. Thank you so much, Raleigh. I try. There's some great painters out there. So I always have new things to learn when I see all the great work out there. It's always more to learn. So there's no reason why you can't use a brush or other tools besides an airbrush on your lures. Whenever, you know, sometimes stencils just aren't the right tool to get certain looks. So don't be afraid to bust out the paintbrush once in a while. Especially on like these sunfish or really detailed fish with like, you know, it's crazy stripes with all kinds of variations and stuff. It's hard to stencil that stuff. Sometimes a paintbrush looks better. All right, so that looks pretty good. All right, let's see what kind of, let me let that dry for a second. Let's see what kind of eyeballs we need. Thank you, Arthur. What kind of eyeballs do they have? So I have my reference photo here. And I may have some custom-ish eyes that look like pike eyes, but I got to get a close-up of these babies here. So it looks like they have a gold ring, right? Dark with a gold-ish ring around the center, right? So the size, I think I have actually an eye that will work perfect for this. So let me just look at a couple more reference photos to make sure that I've got. Yeah, so it looks like dark, mostly dark, a little bit golder on bottom, but like dark for the majority with that little ring. What the heck's going on here? Okay, I'm back. All right, let me grab my eyes and let's see what we got. I can take these off now, but we're going to do a little bit of darkening on the spine too here in just a second. So this is all my 6mm eyes, which I'm pretty sure is the size of this one. So I have a couple different options that I think could work. And those aren't it. I have a lot of eyes. I'm not gonna lie. And you know, actually, like most of my customizers size 8 because they're for swim baits, so they're not gonna fit this. But I have some Brule, B-R-U-L-E is the brand eyes that you can get on Amazon, and they're not fully custom, but they are pretty good as far as like mass produced eyes go. But Jetson Lure Eyes has the bomb eyes if you really like custom eyes. I love them, but I do so many baits that I can't use them for everything. So I have this color here, which is like got a gold ring, but I don't know if that's right. I don't know if you guys can see those or not very well. That's not my first choice, but you guys can argue with me if you care to. I have another one that I think is even closer that I actually just used for a sculpin pattern that I did for Kevin, if you're here. Hey, Warren. I'm still working on your stuff, too. Don't think I forgot you. I just got behind with all those bluegills, and so I'm catching up now, and I should have them done pretty quick here. Well, duh. They're here somewhere. I'm sorry. It's always that one packet that I can't find when I'm trying to find. When I'm on my show. It's always on my show when I can't find it. They're these dark ones that have, these would probably be okay too, but I don't think they're quite right. I want to show you these dark ones that I have. Wherever the heck they are. No, why are you so difficult? I just had them out too. I'm going to set these aside in case I can't find them. And then at least I can use something close. I might have put them in the wrong bag too. That's something that I've done in the past too. All right, I found them. Okay, so these are called Raven, R-A-V-E-N. The brand is Brule, B-R-U-L-E. They are on Amazon. They are more expensive than just your regular stock colors, but not terribly expensive. So I don't know if you guys can see those, but they have kind of like a gold ring, and it's a mostly black eye. So on YouTube, you can see that or not. Sometimes maybe it'll help to put my hand behind them. But you can see that. It's just like a gold ring around a very dark eye. Or do you think they should be more gold? What do you guys think? Anybody have a feed? Yeah, the camera is wider on the YouTube feed. And I'm pushing, I have it pushed down right now because I was doing my detail work on the bench and I wanted everybody to be able to see it. I'll pull my camera back up a little bit though so you can see my face again. Let me put this pile of crap away. So it's either these or these. Or I can go with a golder eye if you think that I should go with a golder eye. What do you think? Anybody? I have this one too that would look pretty good too. I'll show you these ones if I can find them real quick. This is one of my favorite eyes on the market is Tago Fly, and I can only find these on AliExpress, and they are great. This is what I use when I want a really natural look, like on a bluegill or something like that. Some shad lures. It's kind of like a brownish, grayish color. I don't know if you guys can even see these very well on video. A picture looks way better. So if anybody has the first ones with the gold, I don't tie flies, no. Hello, Kevin. Does everybody think they're first ones, or are we all indifferent? Good. I don't know what you mean by those, Arthur. By the time I see your comment, I'm not even doing what I was doing when you commented. So I have no idea. I don't really know what you were saying. So let's just try a couple on here and see what happens. The eyes on these jerkbaits aren't as big as I would wish they were, but so that's the dark. And then here's the one with the golder ring with kind of a blue center, which they're almost brown on the outside. So I don't know, maybe those do look better. So there's the one with the gold, a little bit brown and blue, and then there's the darker black one. So I'll show you guys up here too if I can get, sometimes if I put my hand behind it, it focuses a little bit better, but maybe not today. Yeah, it's just too close on this webcam. That one's got a little bit brighter gold. So let's maybe go with that one. The last one, okay, so the one that's more gray colored, you thought? I wish I had custom Pike eyes, but I don't. This one has a little bit more of a silvery gold color, and it works for a lot of different. So this is the last one I showed you. God, it's so hard to show you up close on this YouTube camera. It just doesn't like to work. So number 1 or number 2. Number 1 or number 2. Oh, wait, no, number 1. I'm sorry, or number 2. Okay, let me get out. It doesn't matter. You tell me what you think. Number 1 was the grayer ones, and number 2 was the golder ones. So you guys tell me what you like, if you care. If you don't care, I'll probably just pick. And it'll be fine either way. The dark ones didn't look as good as I thought they were going to, I have to say. You still like number 1? So this one right here, right? The gray, the one that's like a grayish brown. This color right here. The ones that I said were the Tegafly ones. Say yes if that's what you liked. And let me go ahead and put some green on here. Okay, I'm gonna just dump this. I should be able to recreate that color without too much problem. Ooh, you know what? This made my yellow in my cup, it like clumped up when I mixed it with that bone color. It sprayed fine, but it clumped up. It was weird. Let me turn up my air again. Frogs or torpedoes? Yes, I do actually. Do you mean soft though? When people say frogs, I don't know if they mean soft frogs or like frog crankbaits. I make frog crankbaits. I don't paint soft frogs. I'm not saying that I couldn't because I paint soft plastics, but I've never tried to paint a hollow-bodied frog, and I don't know if I really cared to try, if that makes sense. Like, it's just one of those things that seems difficult, and I don't really know if I feel like taking on another new thing again. So I feel like I'm always trying new things instead of spending time on things that need to be done. So this is moss green again. I'm just going to go along the spine here and darken it and get rid of some of these scratches that are on here. So just a little bit of reducer. I'm going to make it nice and thin. Just stir it up. This is just a disposable paintbrush that I use to stir my paints with my thinner. Higher contrast. Bait looks great either way. Number 2 looks more natural to me. 2 all the way. So 2 was the one that had the golder, the gold with blue. Okay. Okay, gotcha. Those rubber hollow ones. No, I don't do those, Raleigh. Nope. I do not at this time. I don't know anybody that paints those, to be honest with you. Like, surely there is somebody out there that's crazy enough to paint those, but I don't know anybody. Okay, so I'm just going along the spine and darkening it down a little bit with, I'm not trying not to overspray too much on the spots at all. But I got some scratches on there. And I may add some sepia on top of this too, just to soften up this green color a little bit on top. And I got the paint really thin, so I want to make sure that I'm not overdoing it and having my paint run, so I'm just kind of heat setting it as I go here. Got it. Thanks guys for the feedback. A manufactured deal. Well, I mean, everything I paint is manufactured. I don't carve any of my own baits as of right now. Never say never, but I don't. Okay, so I just got some dark along the spine, and then I'm going to just fill in a little bit around the eye socket. My paint is really thin, so I'm not going to get too crazy here. And I'm going to switch to brown. So I just, you know, darkened up the spine area on this. And then I'm going to do it, I'm going to add a little bit of brown to soften up the green. And then I should be fairly close to done. A fin, maybe a fin. Let's see here. Yeah, I can paint soft plastic lures, but I've never tried the hollow body frogs. I don't know what they're made out of, or if the paint that you use to paint soft plastics is totally different than the paint you use to paint hard baits. They're not interchangeable at all. I would assume it would work on the hollow body frogs, but I've not tried it. And I know people even on the dark sleepers who've had trouble getting the soft plastics paint to stick to that. So I haven't tried doing dark sleepers either. Not because I don't want to, I just don't have time to do everything I want to do sometimes. So it looks like we've got like a brownish fin maybe on our pikes, a wider brownish fin, so we could do that. So let's put a fin on it and let's add a little sepia to the side. I've got some big fin stencils, so let's see if any of the ones I have. Nothing's coming out of there. I think that might be empty. Let me grab my big one here. I think I already knew that was empty and I forgot for a moment. I should probably fill it back up. That bottle is really dirty though. I should probably just use a different one. So this is just sepia in a big bottle. And I don't recommend buying them that size. I thought it was a good idea because it was more cost efficient, but they don't last forever. And so your paint, you'll notice, will start to clump a little bit and spray not so nice anymore. So for lure painting, I'm not sure I recommend ordering that size. Fins, so let's see here real quick. It won't take me as long as it looks like it's going to take me probably to dig these out. I have some nice good big fin stencils on these stencils that I got from, these are from Whitmore Farms. He makes nice stencils too. All right, so there's a few on here that are cool. So these ones have stripes on them, and I have a couple good stripe stencils here, but I don't know if I'm looking at reference photos real quick again. So it's kind of got, I'm tempted to try this one right here, but I kind of want to try this one instead. Let me look at it. So these have stripes built into them already. They're kind of cool. See them? But what I don't like about this one is that all the stripes don't start from one point and then work their way out. Some of them start from the middle, but that one might look cool. I don't know if I want to use this one or this one. 1, 2, 1, 2. Anybody have an opinion? 1, 2. Down here. 1, 2, 1, 2. Or neither. I'm letting you guys get involved here because I can't make decisions today. I'm going to put them up here while you guys are thinking about that. And we're going to see what I think on first glance. I think that I'm going to have to go with 2 because number 1 looks way too big. But I'm just curious what you guys are going to say, if you care. Yeah, that's what I think too. 2. Okay, here we go. So let's do a fin. So I'm just going to do a nice light fin in sepia. Yeah, well, I didn't like that the lines don't come from one point on that one. It kind of bothers me. It's like just one of those details that shouldn't be that big of a deal, but for whatever reason, kind of bugs me. This doesn't look right. So let's see what this looks like. There we go. So that's just like a straight fin a little bit. And I'm going to add some dark to that point right in the middle here, where it would attach to the body like. This sepia paint spray's just terrible. I need to order a new bottle. Like, I need to remember to add that to my. I should just add it to my Amazon cart at this point because I never make it to Hobby Lobby anymore. And I don't order paint very often anymore because I switched to lacquer paint. So I don't order from Spray Gun or much. Okay, so I just made that point where it sticks to the fish like a little bit darker. I know it's hard to see in this light what it actually looks like in person because you've got so much light here. Let me turn this off for a second and see if you can see better. Sometimes it matters a little bit. So without the halo light on. So you have your fin there, and that's what it looks like for you guys on Facebook. So let me do the other side here real quick. And then I'll put the eyeballs on, and we'll call it a day after I Okay, so I'm going to go along the spine now with a little bit of brown and just kind of soften that up. That's so thin. Okay, so let's dry this up and put some eyes on, and we'll call it done. All right, anytime I'm doing eyes, I use super glue, and the reason is because I dip my baits whenever I can. I dip them in clear coat instead of painting it on or spraying. Because I use Illumi UV, and it's one of the best clear coats in my opinion as far as durability and ease of use, and it's just good stuff. Anyways, so I dip them, and then sometimes if you're not careful, even if you are careful, they'll start to slide down the side of your bait. And if you don't notice and you hang it in your lure curing box because it's ultraviolet light cured, you'll pick it up out of the light box and your bait will be clear coated to the side of your lure, or your eyeball will be clear coated to the side of your lure. And that's a very sad thing because then there's nothing you can do to fix that. So here we are, pike, all done. There it is. So I hope you guys liked this one, and I hope you like how it turned out. If you didn't, that's okay too. But thank you guys for watching. I did include the website in the description in both places. If you're watching on YouTube, the discount code through Sunday is LIVE in all caps. That will get you 10% off anything in the store. And I did add some items to clearance. So there are a few discounted baits to pick from now if you want to get a deal. And I probably won't be back next weekend because it's Memorial Day weekend, and I know a lot of people are going to be out camping and fishing and whatnot, and we may be too. We might actually be camping too. So I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. If you have any questions, as always, reach out on Facebook PM or email me at coloradolures@gmail.com. And I will look forward to seeing you guys in a couple of weeks. Have a safe holiday weekend, and everybody take care. Thanks.